What's good, everybody? This is Y and Z, a conversation between the generations Y and Z. Right in the title, Jay Clark is my name. I represent the Y in the equation, the best generation on this here planet Earth. The other half of that equation, Brother Xavier D. Lewis, Generation Z. How are you this week, good sir?
Hey man, I'm feeling amazing. It's so weather outside.
The weather has been nice.
The weather has been beautiful. As a true Southerner, grew up in Mississippi, spent a little bit of time there in Georgia. I love this kind of weather because I never got it growing up. At least never this soon. We would never get this before
This
Thanksgiving.
let me tell you, as when I was in high school and I was driving, this was I had a convertible, nothing fancy now, Chrysler Sebring.
Okay, okay,
Chrysler
I'm
Sebring.
not
But it was
nonetheless.
I was doing what I was doing. It was a Chrysler. Hey, brother
Hey,
felt he was doing all right. This was top down, windows up, and a touch of heat on. Ooh, when I tell you that was some good driving, because you get that nice little chill up top, that good breeze, but then you just be nice and
get that
cozy.
warmth down, no?
Boy, nighttime cruising with a honey like that. So, mm, mm.
I can already see that was a very good
Quality,
time.
quality. Just find a nice spot to chill and just gaze at the stars. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me not get into trouble. And we're going to not try and get into trouble this week.
Gaze at the stars, man.
Gaze in the stars. Yes. Moving on. We're not going to try and get into trouble this week because we are literally about to step into a little minefield and try and navigate this. And you might be surprised where we go with this. But again, we're going to try not to get into trouble because it's gonna come off in all the wrong ways. It's gonna sound, oh, this a male splaining podcast. Oh, it's just two guys talking. Why there's potential for issues here. Would you say so, sir?
I definitely say so. But
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, truth will offend people.
And that's what we do here sometimes. We're gonna get into it. But before we do, like, share, subscribe. We thank you for joining us here on Y and Z The Divide. This is a subject we've heard a lot about, not just necessarily this year and with the rise of movements and stuff. It's been something that's been on, I guess, the cusp of things for a while, and that is,
Yeah.
shall we just say, the state of man or whatever. And it's recently in the news because we had a book recently written by a guy named Scott Calloway called Notes on Being a Man. He's been making all the talk show stop bys and talking about the book.
Right, right.
And as he mentions in this book, quick summary is, boys and men are in crisis. Rarely has a cohort fallen further and faster than young men living in Western democracies. Boys are less likely to graduate from high school or college than girls. 1 in 7 men reports having no friends. Men account for 3 of every 4 deaths of despair, aka suicide, in
Uh-huh.
America. Even worse, the lack of attention to these problems has created a vacuum filled by voices espousing misogyny, demonization of others, toxic, yada yada, toxic masculinity, essentially. Let's see where we go with this, but just on the front of it, youngin, especially as a young man who was more so grown up in this thing more so than me. This is the last decade was your prime growing. You grew up in these times of this changing more so than I. But I'm just
Yeah.
curious, just overall thoughts at this point, and we'll see where we go from here.
I think the points that he brings up are great. Particularly the societal push for just feminism on all genders. The societal push for
Mm.
feminism on all genders. Now, what do you mean by that, Xavier?
Yeah, yeah, please, please, please.
What I mean by this is the over the ability to make men more feminine. It's it's something that I've seen in my life growing up, just from like a societal standpoint, not necessarily from a family standpoint or anything like that. My dad is a dad, he's a sick born in 1968 kind of guy. His dad is born in the 30s, and you know what I'm saying? So still very southern values that way.
Hmm.
But just from a society's perspective, with me being in middle school and high school and even college years, just looking at how society would want to make men less men. As far as the topic of, I feel like things that
Mm.
we deem to make men men then all got subjugated to be toxic masculinity. How do I go with this here? Let's just say theoretically, because I mean, I was already not in adolescence, and I think it's getting pushed more on our smaller kids. You know what I'm saying? Smaller, boys and girls and stuff like that. Like he brought up in the interview, you tell a little boy to sit there, be quiet, and only, don't get me wrong, manners are manners. We do, every gender should know when to do certain things. But a little boy should be adventurous. He should be rambunctious. He should be almost to a certain, he should be loud, he should be wanting to do these things. That's what makes boys boys. I remember hearing that phrase so much growing up.
Hmm.
Just let the boys be boys. We will be a little bit rougher, we would do stuff that we probably shouldn't have been doing, but because we were boys we were allowed to get away with it, because they understood that boys more than girls should get their hands burnt.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I think our society nowadays would like it better for the feminizing of men and calling it the pulling down of toxic masculinity. I do think you can deal with toxic masculinity without increasing the level of femininity in a man.
Okay, I was not expecting that from you. Um,
And
bullshit.
let's make this very clear.
Can I call bullshit? Can I call
I'm not
bullshit?
against feminism. I think we should definitely make certain parts of our society softer,
I,
but
you, to be honest, you are taking this in a very conservative way. I'm not necessarily mad at you for it, but I think you are overly focusing it on one side of this.
okay. What's the other side I should open up to?
This is a conversation a lot of people don't necessarily want to have and aren't truly ready for, to be honest. I texted a couple some females I know, and I hate to use that word, but I was like, because I saw a lot of clips being shared by them, to be honest. And I was like, this is a conversation people aren't really ready to have. And a lot of them respond like, you're right. And what I mean by that is, I kind of see some of the things you were touching, but I don't think you're touching them in the right way.
Okay.
In relation to the discussion we had a couple weeks ago, world changing. I think this is one of those areas we need to see some change and allow change to happen. And unfortunately, I think what we are seeing at this point is the results of, if we call this equation being male and female, the equation for the majority of history, the equation for the majority of history has been imbalanced in the favor of males. And what we've seen in this modern era is the work, effort, and struggle right along with something like civil rights or whatever of, for let's just call it, the women's right movement.
Okay.
Women's rights. A lot of people call it feminine, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, their attempt to balance out the scale or to have open to the same opportunities that men have, equaling out things. Okay. No problem with that. Great. We've seen advancements in that. Great. The unfortunate opposite reaction we're seeing to that, a consequence, is that men are getting lost. Because I like what he points out in that, let's be honest, a lot of our motivations are driven by sex. And not just sex, the act itself, but everything it takes to get to that point. And you see, like, it's the peacocking effect. How can we
Uh-huh.
make ourselves more appealing to the other gender so that they want to be with us? Like
Right.
outside, like taking power out of it for a second, but just that's the norms we're used to. Men courting, proving
Right.
themselves worthy. And how we do that? Well, the clothes we wear, the job we have, the place we live, the all the things in order to gain these things. And there used to be standards around that process, old school standards, courting, yada, yada, yada. And for the most part, as we've seen through history, it's because men had all that control and power. Now it's flipped. Yeah, women don't need a man to earn a living, to enjoy the things she wants to in life and all that kind of stuff. Again, great. But what we've seen, the consequence is men are lost because we no longer know how to operate in some of these spaces. And I think to fix that, you need the conversation with both sides. This isn't something men are going to fix themselves. Because if we're going to play in this new world that is being created, which is fine for being created, no issues
Right, right.
with how we interact with one another. Okay, we need to define those new parameters. But the problem is, as he points out, half the battle is there's no incentive for men to participate because now we're in a phase of society where I can get everything I need digitally. As as he's blunt about, yeah, I can my friends online. Yeah, they may not be real friends, but I can have friends online. We game these communities. Porn is online. We're getting into AI and robot. Who knows where that's going? But he's like
Right, 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 right.
everything you were trying to strive for to essentially get from the other sex. Like a lot of that stuff, you no longer need to interact with them for. And it's putting the biggest strain we're seeing on this is in relationships. Because as we see, the
But
scale is imbalanced. Females
I
are doing
think,
better and moving forward, and men aren't.
but I think that that's not to blame either side for that, but I think
Don't
that's
blame that.
something both sides asked for is the independence from the other.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
exactly. I think that's something, but they were just wanting to be themselves without the codependency of the other, and I do have an issue with that. Because
Agreed. Agreed.
we definitely both need each other. But like you said, when it was just a masculine dominated world, that also came with the ill sides of that. So it wasn't just the great parts of a masculine run world. It was everything that came in a masculine run world that was even detrimental to any women in that space.
I'd like to phrase it as we knew the order of things. And I don't want to say that as knowing that that order was necessarily good,
Right, right.
but we clearly knew the order of things. We are now in an age where the order of things
It's
doesn't
being redefined.
exist. No, no, not even fine. It doesn't exist because we are so much in a society where, hi, I'm Jay Clark. I live my life however the fuck I want. Be damned. You're Xavier. You live your life however the fuck you want. Be damned. Whereas before, good or bad, however you want to view it, there was a understanding of this is how these things were done, how community interacted, how what, yes, to get a girl meant to do, you had to do A,
Right, right.
B, C. Like, again, good or bad. I'm not calling it good or bad. It's just how it was. And now we are here and we don't know how to interact with one another. And I think the benefit is judgment, projection. The women are coming out better on top of this because they're coming from the position of rising up, access to things, and they don't have the same demands or expectations in this relationships types of like those things haven't changed. The attitudes about how men should be in relationships, what they, how they're supposed to, because you see it all the time. Oh, his money takes care of us and my money just takes care of, like you see all these arguments online. Now granted things are different, but we see it like it's that, yeah, it should still be how it was back in the day when the men provided because that was the order of things and I didn't have access to nothing. And now even though that I have access to stuff and as we see now more likely probably have more access to stuff than I, the expectation is on still on me to care or on men to carry things. That dynamic ain't work. We like essentially we need to come to the table and reestablish that dynamic. But I don't know how you do that in the era where I like my shit my way, and I believe if that's what I'm even looking for in this economy, my person is out there no matter what, and all you need is the one. And Jesus is having them. Jesus will have them at the right time, and that's no doubt in Jesus. But it ain't working for everybody.
Right.
The dynamic is off here. And I'm not saying it. We have to fix men. That's like I'm not saying is oh we have to coddle. No, but we need to figure out what this thing is going to look like going forward. I'm cool with saying yeah, tear it all down. Like I said, we got to redefine this new world or how things are going to change. Like okay, cool. If relationships are one point where okay now the scale is equal or we all have the same opportunities, what does a relationship like that look like?
Right.
Why? And yeah, I'm gonna ask some dangerous questions now. Just being front.
It's a honestly, it's a pick and choose society, man.
Let me ask some dangerous questions here. Okay, if we're equal now, why is the expectation always on me to provide? If we're redefining these
That's what
things,
I'm saying.
why
It's a
is the
pick.
expectation always on me to provide? Why is the expectation on you to just be waiting for like there's a lot of things
It's
to
like
question here.
it's the pick and choose. They want to say, let's do away with the old times,
I
but
still want the
still
same.
hold on to the statues of that time. You know, there was a reason why women were stay at home moms then. They couldn't do anything else.
Oh, the black community was always too.
Well, yep, of course. But just on a deeper, just on that baseline level, women just in general just were not allowed into the workforce like that. So nowadays, where like you said, you could be just as educated as me, you could be or more,
No, no,
right?
no. The probability is they're more educated than you.
Wow.
They're making more money than you. They're more successful than you. That's the world we're living in right now. I said that's not a bad thing. Okay, I'm all for that.
But now what are the expectations going to be?
When that's flipping, but the expectations are still like they were before. When
Stagnant.
that math ain't mathing, or things ain't add like again expectations. And let me shift the energy here a little bit. Just like for example, I never bought it. I was never bought into that kind of thing from
Mm-hmm.
jump. Like one of my primary relationship examples being my grandmother and my grandfather. Married for 55 years, just about. They both worked. Grandma took care of the finances for the most part. Grandpa would be out working early in the morning. Grandma would be out, sometimes the afternoon. Yeah, grandma would have dinner on the stove. Grandpa would do some like it like I didn't see it as a oh he in charge and she just now granted these are my grandparents so but they got that age but I'd always say they be fighting like the Jeffersons.
Right,
But it was
right.
love at that table. We all loved that. But none, my father, my mother wasn't like that necessarily. Like, it's always been about collaboration, y'all two make it. And that's some of the
Correct.
best advice I got when I got married was like, yo, make it your own.
There
Because you
is
got, yeah.
yes, on a mass scale, there was like this expectation, but I think it's always going to be what works for you at the end of the day. It's always going to be what works for you. The scary thing is, let's just say, one of the statistics he brings up in the book, I got to put up, but he said 45% of men ages 18 through 25 have never approached a woman in person.
Why do you have to? And when would you?
Here we go. See, you about to, right. Okay.
Okay, 18.
Yes.
What was the age
Yes.
range? 18 to what?
18 to 25.
Okay. 25 means you was born in the year 2000, which means you weren't ready to start hanging out until the early 2010s. We all know what's happening to youth cult. Like it's been no shortage of stories. Malls ain't what they used to be. Spaces for youth to hang out ain't what they used to be. And this is all within the range and realm of digital worlds evolving. You spend most of your
Right.
time online. When would you and why would you have to approach a woman in person? And then on top of that, let's be honest, part of the problem is we also see the reaction of how to approach a woman in person has changed. Like there are, yeah, don't approach me.
Right.
There's no secret to that now. Again, I hate to call it a game. The game has changed, and nobody's quite sure what all the rules are. And here's the other problem: you can't treat all women the same.
That I'm not gonna say that's a problem. But yes, there's no formula. I feel like before there was at least some mental kind of formula that you felt
There
might
was
have worked
it was
for
at
the
least a
majority of women.
it was at least a I can act like I can take this pathway until I get into the door, and then once I'm in that door, let me learn how this room is special.
Right, right.
Nowadays, you got to like, okay, now you got to know how to unlock the door to even check out the room to find out, and it's a
Bro,
crapshoot.
it
It's a
is a
crapshoot.
treasure hunt.
Like I'm
Man,
so thankful I ain't in these streets and got to deal with it
man,
because it's
it
wild.
is, it's very difficult when, and thankfully, like I said, most of the at least relational interactions that I've had have been with mostly individuals who are more conservative. So I haven't had to like deal with any of the randomness of today's society. I'll just, that's the nicest word I can use, random. Because like you said, yeah, everybody is so different, and then you could still be dealing with just one specific person, and that person could just change with the going flow. Because you know we see now even attention spans are not even high anymore. Everybody is just going with the going trend, or it doesn't even have to be the going trend, because the going trend would imply that everyone's doing it. No one else has to be doing it for you to do it religiously. That is the scary part of today's society. So it's like you said, I mean, and I'll even go like down this route here. What does this look like for when I have a child?
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm kind of paying attention next. Like, how do
How are you going to raise your
I have
son in
to
this?
raise this man or this boy into a man, and I'm not quite sure how this works. Now, granted,
Right.
he's got an open dad, so who's figured it out. So I'm, at least I'm successful. Hey, ring squat, successful so far. So I can guide him in those routes. But it's like, yeah, the game didn't change. Now I got some basic advice from my dad, which is probably what helped. You know,
Yeah.
we know the game. It's good. But I think part of the problem is, and like it might seem like I blamed a lot of the women there for the whole talking thing. I just talked to a homegirl of mine. I got on the phone with her. We was talking, chatting. She's filling me in on her life and stuff. It ain't the problem of getting the number or that initial. It's like niggas ain't following through.
Can't hold a
So
conversation.
it goes back to the whole. They don't. Oh, the next step is I have to call this person. Like it's like I want to be like, bro, like what are some of y'all doing? What are some of y'all
it's
doing out here?
it's
I don't know
crazy,
the games
man.
y'all playing.
Right. It not even necessarily that. I feel like I feel like you said, I feel like what we got from our previous generations, our fathers, grandfathers, we got we got fundamentals to the playbook. What's happening now is we got the fundamentals for the playbook of basketball. Now the sport is football. And these basketball plays ain't working on a football field.
I'd almost say that's not a bad analogy. I'm not mad at that. But also, there's some of them out there who y'all don't have the fundamentals and y'all still trying to play basketball.
Woo! Real, real,
And y'all
real.
ain't got because the fundamentals,
We talking to the men now.
the
That's
fundamentals is what got
real.
I ain't got the fundamentals is what got me here. Like I said, it's fundamentals, man. There are still some simple things, even if we redefine dynamics and how this works, that'll never change. I still want to feel special.
Yeah,
Still want to feel loved. Still need time, attention, all those kind of things. But again, like one of the problems he brings up, what's the motivation here for y'all?
right.
But again, to me, the
I
motivation should be easy. It's like, who want to live alone forever?
But that's unfortunately the bad thing about my generation. I think everybody is just so okay with, in longevity wise, I think they're okay with being alone. Long as far as like not being committed, you know what I'm saying? Like solely committed. I think everybody's like, oh, I want somebody, but they don't really want nobody. You want somebody to post pictures with. You want somebody to maybe lay up with. You want somebody to have occasional great sex with. You want somebody to
Y'all want to meet
do
the societal expectations of whatever it
this,
looks
is that.
like
But
digitally
you
at
don't
that
want
point.
to go through the hard times with a person. You don't want to see them through their storms. You don't want anybody to see you in your storms, because anytime you go through anything, you retreat within yourself. Like you don't want anybody to truly be there for you. But all you want is to meet the societal standards of a relationship in 2015.
In 2025. You did you
Oh, no, no,
did
no. Because the standards haven't changed in the last 10 years. That's been the whole thing. We've seen no evolution. The same things that are, as far as like, romantic relationships, they're still trying to do the same things they've seen in 2015.
like I weep
Oh, that's all you
because
can
because
do.
because because here's the problem. It's interesting. It's like a lot of people for a long time have tried to play it off that this stuff doesn't matter.
We see now it does.
Hmm.
Oh, we see now it does.
I mean, hell, the Bible says. I mean, the whole reason woman was created was because God determined man it was not good for man to be alone. Now, I think we are at a big enough age and expanded enough belief to be able to apply that's God's not just talking about man. It's
Right.
probably not as good for woman to be alone as well.
Thank you.
Like this has got to be figured out.
And like you said, it has to just be redefined with the new things of this, is that, this new world that we are coming into. Women not only have a seat at the table, women are now, in some spaces, the majority of
Well,
the
not
table.
not even that. They're running the table. That's why this is not something that men are going to be able to fix for men. Now, men are needed to help men in this, but I think part of it is we need the women's help in this
Right.
because
This is not a
y'all
conversation.
set the terms of the game.
This is not a conversation of how do we get more men back to the table. No, that's not this conversation. The conversation is how can we sit down one with another and determine what this is going to look like.
Cause, yeah, because these expectations are killing us,
Oh,
and that's
bam,
both
that's all you said.
and that's
The
both sides.
expectations are killing us.
That's both sides. That's both sides. Because you hear, I don't. Women say it all the time. The things they don't want to be held to. Some of these things men don't want to be held to. Especially
Like,
when the game has done
bro,
changed. When logically it's like, wait, hold up.
let, let's make this practical. Dude, how do you expect her? You've been sitting at home all day. She went out to work, got the money, and you still expect her to come in and cook, do the laundry, make up the bed? Huh? Unreal expectations. Unreal. She has 2 degrees. You have none.
But we need all sides need to be open to some redefinite because yeah, you're gonna have that crowd's come back. I ain't doing no dishes. Man ain't do no dishes. Man don't wash no laundry.
She working 2 jobs and in nursing school. You sitting up playing Call of Duty Warzone with your buddies on the PS5 she bought you. Cause you still living in your mama house.
Oh no, that's bad. No, that's bad. But yeah. This is something that's going and the problem is, the easy problem is, well, they don't speak for me. Because here's the problem, which is and I hate calling it necessarily a problem because it's perfectly fine for people to hold their own beliefs and values. Some folks will never get off that, and that's fine because it'll work for them. But this problem is still gonna be here.
Oh, correct. No
And
matter how much, yes, certain things work for certain people, yes. But in mass majority, we are seeing the old way has been done with. And we can't keep the old ways definitions in this new world.
I
We
hear some
can't.
who say right now the old way never worked. Granted, I'll buy that because there are those who have lost all faith in the beloved relationships and marriages a lot of us hold of our grandparents and those
This
who
is
of that
true.
boomer generation because of the whole, well, yeah, grandma didn't have no chance. She had to be there while grandpa was out creeping up. If you are dissuaded by love by that, I'm not here to change your
I'm not
mind or
here to
fight you
argue.
on that. I'm not hating on you, but it doesn't mean all of them weren't
Right.
working. That black love is true. And
Very
that black love is shown us, especially with our grandpa, the strength that two people can get through. And yeah, you got to make it your own. You got to figure out what works for you and this person. But unfortunately, I think your generation has to be open to allowing that process to happen.
naturally, right?
And
It
it takes
literally,
time.
yep. That's it. That's it. I think that statement right there scares this generation. It takes time. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be.
And
It literally
it's
has.
it's never done. It's never done.
Right.
There's
Bam.
never a
There is
finish
no
point.
endpoint to it.
There's
Right.
never a fin. The woman I am with right now is not the same woman I married 10. No, no, no. We are. Who? What year is it? 2025? Yeah, 10 years ago. Is not the same woman I married 10 years ago. Yes, she's the same woman, but that's 10 years of life and experiences that has changed her and I. She's not the same woman. I can't treat her the same as I did back then
Nope.
or 5 years ago. It's never done. It's constantly changing and rearranging based off circumstances of life.
Right. I think we just want the easy way out. They want to know
Ooh, you speaking.
one linear version of a person, never to know them again. And, or I'll even say to this point, I feel like my generation now is so wavering. There is nothing concrete about them. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Mm.
So, like, whereas, you have experience due to life experiences and different circumstances, different versions of your wife throughout time. Nowadays, with my generation, Jesus, you don't even know who you are as an individual enough to be able to communicate that to another person. It's just an identity crisis. There's an identity crisis. And how can we expect as a generation, Generation Z, how can we expect to be with someone, grow something, mature together, be in this constant pursuit of this love and happiness and sustainability? How can we want to do any of that and we don't even know who we are? We're allowing social media, societal standards to define us.
And the urge for any satisfaction can be settled like that.
That need for that instant gratification, I'm telling you, it will kill a generation.
I mean, we're seeing it. It's killing things. It literally is killing things. It's one of the factors of killing things. But no, it's literally
Yeah.
killing things. Because back in my
Instant
day,
gratification,
that instant
external
gratification was
validation.
hard. Was hard. You couldn't just open up your phone.
Right.
Mm-mm. There was more purpose behind that chase.
You might have to, wear that outfit a few times for people to really, be like, nah, all right, I see what you got on there.
It took that chase took a minute. And yes, some things were more repeatable. Yes,
You see what I'm saying?
that's a
You
lot
might
of
have to
pressure.
use that. You might have to use that same pickup line on a few people for one of them catch.
Like, you had to actually get out and touch grass.
You see what I'm
What?
saying?
What? It ain't. It's before we get out here. It just makes me think of that skit that one of the talk about how back in the days in the club we used to be, you get up on the girl, it's that moment of tension. Yeah, that that's pressure. Y'all don't know pressure like that pressure. Y'all don't know
Mercy.
pressure like that pressure. A lot of unknowns get discovered in a moment, whether she's okay with it or two. She turned around, you're like, ooh, that's not what I thought it was gonna be, but I gotta find it. Or just that's pressure like you ain't never experienced. Get out and touch the grass. It'll change your game.
Simple as that.
Oh, let's get out of here. I think we had navigated this minefield semi-successfully. I am sure we stepped into some grenades there because
Of course.
it just is how it is. But yeah, we need, as Jesse Jackson says, can we all just get along? I'll wait for y'all. And I'm glad I'm not with y'all because Ring Squad. Anyway,
Chill out.
why?
Chill
And,
out.
and
Chill
I
out.
and I hey, I ain't messing this. Hell no. In this economy here, and this shit, man, shoot.
And nigga said
That
in this
that this
economy.
this stuff right here, it will keep a brother from cheating right there. For what? I'm gonna give this up so I can be out there in them streets? Ah, please. Anywho, it is Y and Z, a conversation between the generations. We appreciate any time you have spent with us here, and hopefully we didn't just blow up too much that now you hate us and want to get us canceled. But engage with us here. Share your thoughts about this conversation. And like, share, subscribe, follow us. J Clark 787, Xavier D. Lewis, YZ The Divide. Leave a review. Help us, 5 stars. Help us
Hey,
grow a
hey,
little
five
bit.
stars,
Show
five
the love.
stars.
We'll take it. Put a 5 on it. Put a 5 on it. Yes. At least you can do. You ain't
Hey, been waiting to say this the whole episode. Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, slow moments from behind the scenes. Anywho, we'll catch y'all next time. We just happy he comes first in that. That's all. Peace out.
Peace out, y'all.